Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to show you how to add all the required entities that we will need in order to make our application run. And in this video, I'm going to create the classes that will act as our entities, and later on we will take those entities and we will convert them into our database tables, as we will be using what we call code first migration. We'll see that when we start doing migration stuffs, but until which there we are going to start by creating all the required entities. Into the core project, you can go ahead and create a new folder, and I'm going to be calling this as entities like this one, and make sure you spell it the way you can read it as it is. And the first entity that we need to add will be called the base entity, and the base entity will be the entity that will contain all the common properties that other entities can inherit from. And also, whenever we're going to add the patterns into our project, we need to use this base entity, and we have to apply the configuration to it, and is going to call all the classes that derive from it. And for that, we will be safe that all classes are getting the same configuration without repeating that over and over. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add a new C# class, and I'm going to call this as base entity, and press enter. And this base entity, for now, it is going to be holding the ID only. And you know that whenever we're going to create any entity, we need to have the ID, and I'm going to use this base entity to hold that ID, and we have to derive from it so as to be able to get the ID, and you don't need to add that again and again. I'm going to say plop and press tab, and this will bring this property, and I'm going to call this as ID. And from now on, we are now done with this base entity class, and I'm going to go ahead and close this, and I'm going to add other entities. I'm going to close all of this so as to have a clean workspace like this. And after that, we're going to add another entity for the product type. I'm going to go again into the entities, and I'm going to create a new C# class, and I'm going to call this as product type. And what this will do, first of all, it will have to derive from the base entity. And after doing this, I'm going to go ahead and add all the required properties. And for the product type, we need only one property for its name, so I'm going to say plop, and this will be a string, of course, because this is going to be holding the name, and I'm going to call this as a name. And after I'm done with this, and you can see that as I'm working with string and we didn't configure anything to our core project, you can see that it is going to give you this warning which say that non-nullable property name must contain a non-null value when exiting a constructor. And can make this as string.empty like this one, so as to remove this error. But there is other method that you can do for like globally, so as to avoid adding these every time we are going to declare the string. So I'm going to remove these, and instead you can go into the core project in here, and you are going to disable the nullable flag. And the way we do that, you can see that we only use nullable, you can see that it is enabled. I'm going to go ahead and say disable. And in that case, we are not going to be getting the warning again, as we are going to be adding that nullable flag as disable. You can see that now the warning has gone. And I'm going to add another entity for the product brand. As we are done with the product type, I'm going to say product brand like this, and press enter. And again, it is going to derive from the base entity like this, base entity, and press enter. And again, here I'm going to add the property for I'm going to add the property for the name only. So I'm going to make this as a string public string, and I'm going to call this as a name. All right, and we are now done with all of this. And remember to save. We can see that this is not saved, and save this too. Okay, after saving this, I'm going to close them as always to have a clean workspace, and we're going to add another entity for the product itself. I'm going to say a new class, and I'm going to call this as product. And again, as always, I'm going to derive from the base entity to have that property for ID, And inside here we're going to add all the properties that are required for this product, and we're going to say prop, and I'm going to give this as type of string, and I'm going to call this as a name. And again, I'm going to go for the description, and that will be a string, so I'm going to say plop, and I'm going to this will be a string, of course. This will be a string, and it's going to be called description. It will be now the description of our product. After this, I'm going to add another property, and this property will be for the price, and the price must come into the decimal one, and I'm going to call this as price. And respect the casing, and make sure you write it on the way that you need, and it will help you to avoid the further errors, because when you are going to see the data, we have to match the properties exactly as we're having on the seed data. So pay attention whenever you are doing this. I'm going to add another property for the picture URL, because we need now the picture of the product. I'm going to say this will be a type of string, and it will be a picture URL like this. And I'm going to add another property, and let's say plop. And the other property that we need to use when we get here, we're going to use other properties from we're going to use the types from other entities. And in this case, I'm going to say, for example, we need to know the product type. And in order to know the product type of this product, I'm going to call in the product type here, product type, and I'm going to call it product type, like this one. And as I'm going to be using this product type, in order to get it as it is, we need to add another ID that will act as the navigation property, and I'm going to make this as an integer. And so I'm going to say that this will be product type, product type ID, like this one. And this will be like a navigation property. And we're going to do the same for now the product brand. I'm going to say plop, and I'm going to bring out the property that will be type of product brand. I'm going to call this as product brand. And again, I'm going to add that navigation ID. So I'm going to say plop, and I'm going to call this product brand ID, product brand ID, like this one. And after we are done with this, we are now ready to continue, and you have to double check to ensure that you are having all of these types as you intended. So check that whenever you need to use a string is the one that you used, whenever you need to add the integer is the one that you used. And after we double checked everything, we are now ready to go. So in the next video, I'm going to be showing you how to add the DB context. I'm going to show you how to configure the connection string, and after that we'll see on how we can be using all of these in action. And from now on till the next video, stay cool, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.